Okay, good morning to all. Let us resume our lectures on machine learning for image processing, mathematical basics that are needed for machine learning and image processing concepts. Okay, so can one of you quickly summarize what we have discussed in the last class? Meanwhile, I will share the screen. Yeah, request. Yeah, quickly summarize. I'm not hearing anything. Hello?
So we started a discussion with the properties of matrices. We discussed about rank, determinant, eigenvalues, eigenvectors, how to find them,
Right.
and then we ended up with this vector calculus.
Okay. So we have seen how to do differentiation when we have a function of vector. Okay, it's a scalar valued function, but it has it operates on a vector. Okay. So now let's move on to the subsequent discussions. I hope all of you are clear on how do we get dou f by dou x when you have f of x equal to x transpose into x. Okay, x transpose x. I hope you are able to see the shared screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if anybody is not clear in this, please let me know. Okay, we will be using this in the subsequent discussions now. Okay, so now assume that f of x I have. Okay, it's a function of x. Okay, and a matrix M. Okay, so this is now is equal to M into x. Okay, where x is d cross 1 and then M is d cross d. Okay, and overall, what is the dimensions of this f?
D cross.
What are the dimensions of this f? D cross 1. Okay, this is a vector valued function. That means the function itself will return a vector. Okay. Okay, so this you can consider it as vector function or vector valued function. Vector function. Okay, so now what we want to do with this is we want to differentiate. So it's now this f if you write, okay, it will itself will have f1, f2 and so on up to what? Up to fd here. Okay, sometimes this need not be d, so this can also be, if you want to make a different notation for the rows and columns, we can put here, okay, n cross d, and hence the f is also of dimension n cross 1. Okay, so this now goes up to fn. Okay, so now what we want to find is dou f by, in fact f itself is a vector, please note that. Okay, dou f by dou x. Okay, this is what we want to find. Now any of you can tell what should we do to do this? Any idea on how should we proceed for finding this dou f by dou x? What does this mean first of all? Dou f by dou x. Okay, what does it mean? Those who at least want to guess, quickly guess. Okay, I will not give you a chance to guess if you wait. Okay.
So partial differentiation.
Yeah, right. Partial differentiation of what and what?
Like of f respect to x, x1, x2, xj and all.
Yeah. It how much change does it affect in component 1, f1? Okay. So like that we will be measuring are the changes due to each of the components of x in each of the components of f. That's what is the differentiation component. Okay. So now what do you think is the dimension of this after doing all this? As I said, I will not give you a chance if you wait to answer my questions.
D cross N.
Yeah, it is D cross N. Okay, so it is D rows and cross N. Okay, so now what we want to see is in this case, in this specific example, okay, in this specific example, we want to see what is dou F by dou X. So some of you want to give a try. Please find out, each of you try to find out this and tell me. Quickly take your notes. Okay, and just figure out and tell me what will be the output here. Okay, dou F by dou X bar in this case. Quickly start working out. F1 is equal to F1 of all this. Okay, is equal to, so M I have not defined, but if you want, you can define M, where M is equal to M11, M1, M1, D columns, right? MN1, MND. Okay, this is how M is defined. Okay, with elements, small m. Okay, now given that you can write F1 explicitly, how do I find it? Dou F bar by dou X bar. What is the procedure to find it? I will write what?
M transpose.
Yeah, very good. No, the answer is M transpose, but other people also please find and confirm whether it is correct or not. Okay, sometimes it can be M also. On the way I define, okay, it differs whether it is M or M transpose. Okay, I can define this derivative of F bar, dou F bar by dou X bar in different ways. Okay, so this is one standard definition people use. Okay, in most of the coding techniques, this is what is the definition that is used. That's why I have written to this. But some textbooks, in fact, Duda and Hart defines it other way. Okay, so dou F by dou X. So first I will find the differentiation of, okay, with all X1 components. Okay, so it's like dou F by dou X1, dou F1 by dou X2, dou X1, dou F1 by dou XD they will find. Okay, so if we define like that, things will be different. So in this case, what is that? The answer. So here, so F1 if we write, F1 is equal to M11 into X1 plus M12 into X2 plus and so on, M up to what it will go? M1D XD. Okay, this is how you write F1. Similarly, you write F2, FD and so on. Then you find the individual derivatives, differentiations, and then you should get this. Okay, this matrix. Fill this matrix. Dou F1 by dou X1. What is that? M11. Dou F2 by dou X1. Then what do you think you will get? M. What will you get here as a second component? F2, I have not written here. M21X1 plus M22X2 plus and so on M2D XD. Okay, so what is component here?
M21.
M21. Similarly, M up to where it will go?
MN1.
Yeah, dou Fn, right? So MN1. Okay, similarly now you can do that for F1 XD. So M1 F1 XD. Okay, dou F1 by dou XD is M1D. Okay, M and D. So this is nothing but what? M transpose. Okay, is this clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hope this is clear. Okay, if this is clear, I will ask you another question now. I define now a function. Okay, let me use another color. Okay, so F bar, again a vector valued vector function. So X bar comma M is defined as X transpose, okay, mx. Is this vector valued vector function, or finally f is a vector or a scalar? If I define like this, is f where m is d cross d? What is dimension of f now? Huh?
Scalar.
It's a scalar. Okay. So this is 1 cross d, and this is d cross d. Okay. And then this is d cross 1, and hence this is 1 cross 1. Okay. It's a scalar. Okay. A scalar function. Okay. So fine. So now what I want to do is, in this, what I want to do? Dou f by dou x. Okay. What is equal to how much? Do you think you can make a guess? Any inputs
Sir,
on
maybe we
how
can
should I
use
proceed?
the UV formula.
Yeah, very good. So I should use UV formula. Okay. Okay. I will use UV formula, but tell me how should I use?
X transpose, like X transpose differentiation into mx plus mx differentiation into like X transpose into mx differentiation.
Okay, fine, good. So I'm writing that. Okay. So what he has said is, okay, X transpose M into X. Okay. So in one case you can consider, okay. Okay, let me yeah, M into X. Okay. So in one case, when we do differentiation, this is dou by, okay, when we are doing differentiation, dou by dou x, this x now operates on this X transpose. Okay. Here dou by dou x, this dou by dou x operates on this x. Okay. Every time I am operating on, okay, this x, and here this x here. Okay. So now, given this idea, will you be able to tell what is the answer? This is correct. In fact, given this idea, what is the answer now? Do you think you people can tell? So in this case, what we are saying is, okay, this is constant. Okay, in this case, this is constant. Okay, because this is a partial derivative. Okay, so this is only variable. You can, since this is a constant, what kind of constant is it? Scalar constant or a vector constant? Is this a scalar or a vector?
So vectors.
A vector. So I will denote here this one with y. Okay, assume that I denote this with y. Can I do that or not?
Yes.
Yes. Then what is the second constant then? If I denote the first one as y, what is the second constant?
Y transpose.
Yeah. So it is, okay. I denote this as y. Okay. This I will write it as, say, some Z transpose. Okay. I just want to don't exactly put Y transpose now, but I will put Z transpose. Okay. If I put it this as Z transpose, what is Z? This is Y I have put. Yeah, Z transpose I have put. What is Z now? Z equal to
M transpose X.
M transpose X. Very good. Okay. Now I have these things with me. Now tell me what is the answer? I need the answer now. Things are all clear here. Okay. Based on the earlier discussion, you should be directly able to tell the answer now. No answer? Okay, I'm surprised if I don't get any answer. See what I'm doing. Dou by dou x transpose y. What is the answer?
Is Y.
Yeah, it is Y. Okay. What is the answer for dou by dou X Z transpose X?
I think it's again Y.
Oh, Z transpose X. Dou by dou X Z transpose X.
Z.
It is Z. Okay. Dou by dou Z Z transpose X. Answer is Z. Okay. So what is the answer? Okay, it is Y plus Z, which is equal to what? Now I want to write explicitly in terms of what we have.
MX
Why I want?
transpose
Yeah. Plus
M transpose X.
plus M transpose X. So what is the final answer? Okay, this all imply what? This all implies what? Dou F by dou X bar in this case is equal to M plus M transpose into X. Is this fine or not?
Sir, I have a small doubt. In this
Yeah, very
expression you wrote, you first differentiated X transpose
right,
in the first term.
right,
Then in the second term, you are differentiating X transpose into M.
right. Not X transpose into M. I am differentiating Z transpose into X.
Sir, but now if you have differentiated X transpose in the first term, then you have to differentiate everything but that term in the next term, no, sir?
Okay. See, what
Meaning,
is that we say this we denoted. See, it's a partial derivative, right? So what we did, if there are two variables, okay, which are functions of X, then what we do, the first variable we will first differentiate, okay, and keeping the second one constant. And in the second time, what do? We differentiate the second variable, keeping the rest constant. That's what I'm doing now.
yes, sir. But you have kept mx as constant in the first term.
Okay.
Then how did you make only x as the constant? Like x transpose should be the constant in the second term, no, sir?
Okay. You are asking X transpose should be constant and this has to be differentiated, right? So
mx has to be
if
differentiated.
if we wish to do that, we can do that as well. Okay. So that is say mx, if we keep as a differentiation, then what we get, M transpose is the answer for it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
then
sir.
X transpose, the problem is X transpose is dimensions doesn't agree, right? So this is a say in that case, see what I'm trying to figure out is I want to bring it to the form which I can easily differentiate when I have vectors. Okay, so see if it is X transpose Y or Y transpose X. Okay, then in that case I can easily differentiate. Here it is Z transpose, right? So Z transpose X. So the motive here is rather than bringing into mainly to UV form, okay, the motive is also that I want to bring into X transpose Y, Y transpose X kind of forms. Okay, where I can easily write the differentiations.
Okay, sir.
So if I don't do that, what will happen is, so if X is a vector, X transpose Mx, if I put as a variable, okay, and then differentiate, say X transpose, see here M transpose, okay. So this whole thing, I think, what is its dimension? So whole thing transpose should happen or something like that. It's not very convenient to do that way.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, in fact, if we strictly want to prove this is a shortcut what I'm doing now. Okay, this is not a systematic procedure as such. If you want to strictly do that, we should expand these things. Okay, get the functions. Okay, function of this in terms of say summation. So X transpose Mx will come in the elements of M and in the elements of X. Okay, and then you will get a double summation and so on, since this is a scalar valued function, and then you should differentiate with respect to the based on the definition. So then also you will get the same answer, but this is a simplified way of doing it. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move on. But
Sir,
see, yeah,
one more clarification.
correct.
In the upper part, like you have written f is equals to column vector f1, f2 up to fn.
Hmm.
And next to that, we have written dou by dou f bar by dou x bar equals to that matrix with dimension
Right.
b cross n.
Correct.
So
Correct.
is it something like, say, in the earlier class, as we discussed, dou by dou x bar is a column vector saying
Right.
dou by dou x1 up to dou x d,
Correct.
and f being another column vector, is it just more like a multiplication saying dou by dou x bar into f transpose?
Okay. Yeah, you can consider like that. So dou by dou x, but what you are writing this, breaking this as, uh, so this one you are breaking it as dou by dou x bar a vector, okay, into f
F bar
say
transpose.
f bar, yeah, f bar transpose. So yeah, I think you can write like that.
So if we take it as something like this,
Mm.
then in the bottom where you have written in the red color dou x by dou x bar equals to dou x bar by x, I mean
Mm.
dou x bar by dou x into mx. During that time, we were trying to differentiate only dou by dou x into x bar. Sorry, x
Here you are telling,
transpose. Uh,
here, where are you telling?
there itself, sir. Actually,
Okay.
just above y plus z. No, no, not there.
Okay.
Uh,
Just,
so,
yeah, here. Okay.
so dou by dou x into x transpose.
Mm.
If we go according to this small definition which we just derived over in the top,
Right.
dimensions will not agree, right?
Correct. Correct. See, actually, what you will see later also, differentiation with whenever they involves matrices and vectors together is not so easy. And
Okay.
they doesn't go like a scalar differentiations like do say second order derivatives, third order derivatives, especially when we go and so on. So what we do subsequently is, when we discuss on the neural networks and the convolutional neural networks, we introduce a concept called computational graphs. So
Okay.
that what we do there is, each of the say if we have a big function, so assume that we have some function which is function of say several matrices, vectors, etc. within it. Okay, so what we do is we break each of this matrix into small things. Okay, so like we made it temporarily here, just it's made a, it looks like a, say simplified procedure, or it is made for the simplification. But
Mm.
there we see a systematic procedure on how to make a bigger function as a smaller function, and then differentiate them one after the other. So if I have a function f of x1 comma, say all are vectors in the x comma, yeah, again mute. Yeah. So if we have something like this, so
Huh.
m1 into x, okay, so plus, okay, m2 into say z transpose x. Okay, if we have some function like this, okay, it may be not very easy, even if we have 2-3 things within it. So it may not be very easy. So what we do is we break this into small components and make a small graph. Okay, that graph is input if I give some each of the independent variables. Okay, x bar, y bar, and so on, each of the independent variables. What I get finally will be the function f. Okay, so then we see systematically how to make the derivatives from partial derivatives from here to here, to write the partial derivatives of this complex function, total partial derivatives. So we break this problem into sub problems. We write at each sub problem what is the partial derivative. Okay, and then we assimilate all of these to get the final answer. So till that, what we rely on is these definitions. Say uh, dimensions are of most important to cross check whether we're going correct or not. That is one aspect. Second aspect is, if you want to do it, the simpler procedure or the straightforward procedure is to expand this. See, for example, what we do here, X transpose Mx, if we expand in terms of elements of this matrix, what will happen? F equal to, say, X transpose Mx when I write, okay, it will come in the double summation Xi, okay, I and J, Mij, okay, into Xj, something like this it will come. Okay,
Yeah.
just check it. It may or may not be exactly correct, but it will come something like this.
Hmm.
And this what we do is we then try to apply our definition. What is the definition? We will try to apply. That's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah, here what did you say? So if dou f by dou x, if you want to do the whole thing, if you differentiate, see in this is an f is a vector here, it is a scalar that you are seeing, right? In that case, you don't break it into two components. So if you want to apply this kind of thing, so directly we go for, okay, so yeah, finally vector is what we are getting. So f is here. Okay, so if you want to go by that definition, dou by dou x j or whatever, dou x k, I will write just for this. Okay, differentiation with this f. That's all. So this you take it whenever, say, for example, I and based on this we write and we get the result.
You mean f bar over here? Dou by dou xk dot f bar.
Not bar, because yeah,
Sorry, f transpose. Sorry.
yeah, f transpose f doesn't matter here because it's a scalar, right?
Yeah. I agree.
Even then, if you guys take in this case, f transpose is f only. Anyway, scalar it's so it will be.
Huh.
So here also you take f transpose is f. Okay. So f transpose you are trying to take. So yeah, I think
mean,
just
it will just be a scalar, sir. That's
yeah,
fine. Dimensions
correct.
we can.
Correct.
And-
So in fact, it should be
Huh.
f. So in
And-
that way, we use, and then you will get the same answer if you do it. So here in this case, what we should do is Ij, there are two variables. You should be carefully handling. One time, say, then you will get the same answer. In fact, all the classical textbooks do with this kind of derivation only, but it takes time. So that's why I would leave this to you. Okay, so you people experiment and see if I make use of these variables appropriately and take the derivative. Okay, will I get the same answer as this? Okay, you check by that procedure, and this procedure I gave you to easily understand or get the final solution as well.
Okay. And one more small doubt, sir. Could
Yeah.
you go to the previous slide?
Here,
Here, bottom left corner. Once
right.
we differentiate over here, according to the definition f of x1, x2 up to xd, y1, y2 up to yd, we'll
Right.
get y1 plus y2 plus so on up to yd, right? Like how exactly did we translate it to y bar over here?
You are telling
No, sir. I got it. Sorry. No issues. Fine, sir. Let's
Oh.
proceed further.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Fine then. Good. So this, in fact, these two are very important identities. I will be keep using. I will just summarize here. Okay. So so far the derivatives. So dou f by dou x we have found for when f is equal to mx. Okay, is what we have got. M transpose x, M transpose, right? M transpose. And when f is equal to x transpose mx, what did we got as the derivative? What is the answer we have got? Mx plus M transpose x. Okay, so these are very important identities, I would say, because I will be using later. Okay, at some point of it, in fact, at several points of time, these identities. Also, we have seen when f is equal to x transpose y, okay, or y transpose x. Okay, dou f by dou x is equal to y. So you can also write x transpose x as 2x. Okay, So all these all identities which we have now discussed are very important. When I discuss about some aspects of Bayesian classification, and more importantly, when I discuss about neural networks, convolution neural networks, and so on. Okay. So in this case, can you comment what will happen if M is a symmetric matrix? As I said in the previous sum class, that usually what we get the matrix M, okay, in our problems is real and symmetric most of the times. Okay, I will tell the reason for that. But assume that if M is real and symmetric, what can you do you think will this simplify? How does this simplify?
2mx.
Is 2mx. Okay, so this usually happens. Okay, so please make note of these things. Okay, and you yourself verify whether this is like this works to get this solution whichever we have written here. Okay, fine. So let's move on to the discussion now on to the other topic. Okay, so that is on the probability and random variables. You might have already studied this probability, random variables, etc. in your math course, right? Can one of you define what is random variable? Suggest you to do quickly if you want to do. What's the random variable? Can you give an example at least? Wish to have an answer quickly.
If we roll a die, then what are the chances of getting 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Well, yeah, if you throw a die, that's what you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you throw a die, there are chances of getting, say if I throw a die, say assume that the outcome is X, it can take the value set of values 1, 2 up to say for example 6. Okay, so in any experiment, if I conduct an experiment, there are possible values V1 up to V say some Vn I may get. These are the possible outcomes of an experiment. In this, where is the random variable? So these are all the possible outcomes we can take. Okay, we can take any of the possible outcomes. Okay, S can take, yeah.
So X will be a random variable.
Yeah, so X is a random variable. The outcome of say experiment itself is a random variable. If you want to define it, how do we define it?
Mapping of outcomes from sample space to real value.
Okay, mapping of outcome from sample space to real value. Okay, so simply if you want to define, okay, so if we conduct an experiment and there is a there are possible outcomes, but among the possible outcomes, what outcome this X takes is random. Okay, so essentially it will take one of the random variables among the possible outcomes. Okay, so to if I say that, what kind of random variable this X is? X is here in this example, it is discrete random. Yeah, and if I want to characterize this X, how do I characterize this X? What is the like notation we use to characterize this X, or what is the procedure we use? Is through probability of, okay, this random variable, or probability, what do we call this? See, it can take any of the values from 0 to 6 or 1 to 6. In that case, what does like see how much with how much probability does it take 2? Okay, with how much probability does it take 5? That if I am able to get that information, I have whole information about the like outcome of the experiment. That means that's what is the best information they can get on the possible outcomes of the experiment. Okay, that is captured in the form of probability
Mass function.
what? Yeah, it is in the form of probability mass function. See, the moment we discuss the random variable, okay, the difference between a random variable and a deterministic variable is deterministic variable, anyway, it's a constant. It will have only one value with certainty. Whereas random variable, there is a probability associated with taking one of the outcomes, and hence you should associate it with either probability mass function or probability density function. Okay, the moment a random variable comes, okay, probability mass function or probability density function has to come. Okay, will be there in picture. Okay, so now let us say in this case, if we assume that the die is unbiased, like a unbiased die. Okay, so then what is the how will be the probability of mass function? How
It will
can
be
I?
the same. It will be the 1/6 for all the possibilities.
So it is 1/6
Uniform
for
mass
all possible. Okay, so I can write this as P of Vi is equal to, or P of X taking Vi is equal to 1/6 for all I equal to 1 to 6. Right? And if we usually probability mass functions are probability density functions, we will sketch them. Okay. 1, 2, and so on. Okay. And what are the properties of this probability mass function? In this case, we have written like this: equal probability 1/6 and so on. Okay. What are the properties of this probability mass function? Yeah, please tell. These are all the very basics.
Sum equal to
Summation.
1, sir.
Summation. Okay, P of X for all possible values of X. If we consider this as, okay, DRV. Okay. Yeah. Is equal to 1. Okay. Any other properties? Any other properties? There is one more important property, right?
Always lies between 0 and 1.
Yeah, it's always lies between 0 and 1. Okay. This is regarding discrete random variable. Please note that. Okay. We are discussing now on the discrete random variable. Okay. Fine. So, yeah. See, can you give any other example just to have a another example here? Any other example you know of discrete random?
Coin toss, like
Yeah,
3
coin toss
times.
is an example, right? Coin toss is another example. Okay, so fine. So now let's move on to continuous random variable. Okay, hope these things are very clear. So we will see later when we have more than one random variable in place. Okay, so we will discuss that later. But let's move on to continuous random variable now. Okay, can you give some examples to continuous random variables? What are the properties of a continuous random variable X? So assume that now small x is a continuous random variable. Give some example, and we also need the properties.
Like uniform random variable where the probability varies.
Uniformly, okay. Let's say you have given a PDF. This is also uniform random variable. Okay, but the example is not that.
Gaussian is one.
Okay, that's also an instance like a probability. Once we define the probability density function, these are different forms of probability density functions. are the possible models for the continuous random variable probability density functions. An example we need.
Sir, noise level.
Okay, very good. Noise level in a signal. So if I assume that, okay, if I transmit a signal, okay, what may happen is different kinds of noises may get added, usually due to thermal effects, okay, and few other effects or random effects they may get added. They mostly, so if X is the signal I send, okay, what I receive is not X but Y, that is added with noise, and this noise usually is, okay, is some distribution. Okay, it's a it's random in nature, and also it corresponds to some probability density function. Okay, so let's move a few other examples we'll discuss now. And let's now define this continuous random variable. How do I define a continuous random variable? So if I define P of X as the, see again, as I said, when the moment we discuss the random variable, okay, probability density function has to come into picture. Here probability density function or mass function. What is the difference between probability density function and probability mass function? Is equal to probability that, okay, X belongs to, okay, so probability, say the small x belongs to a particular value. So let me so assume that I will put a random variable as well. Okay, probability that X is equal to X takes a value P of X, I will define it as, okay, X random variable takes, okay, capital X is a random variable, X plus delta X, okay, 2X minus delta X, some value. Okay, so that's what I have put. So it takes a value. This may not be purely with mathematical notations, so please excuse me for that, but the understanding has to be clear on this. Okay, so this X is a random variable. Okay, this small x is a particular value, value of random variable at value, and this X is a random variable. Okay, it takes a value between X minus delta X to X plus delta X, where delta X is very small. Is this clear? Okay, and the, hello, is this clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are the properties of this probability density function?
It is zero at a exact single point, like for
Yeah,
any point.
and exactly consider, okay, it's a probability density function. As we said, some instances of possibilities of probability density function is said as, okay, uniform random variable. Okay, so if I consider X as a uniform random variable, okay, P of X is uniform. Okay, so between, say, 0 to just for different having different index, here I am putting 5. Okay, so if this is uniform random variable, X is a uniform random variable between 0 to 5, then what I say is this is the P probability density function of the random variable. So if I want to find out what is its probability that it takes exactly value of 2, okay, exactly X takes exactly value of 2 if I want to find, okay, then that is equal to 0, because there are, okay, there are infinite number of possibilities X can take. Among these infinite possibilities, taking only a particular probability, particular value is almost close to 0. Okay, so that is one, fine. So probability of X is equal to X is 0. Okay, so now next. So any other properties do we have?
area under the is equal to 1.
Yeah, it's from minus infinity to infinity if you see. Okay, the p of x is dx is equal to 1. Okay, all right. Are there any other properties?
It is continuous non-decreasing function.
Okay, it's
No,
non.
that is a probability. Probability.
What is that? Continuous non-decreasing function is for which is not non-decreasing function.
It's just continuous.
That is distribution, I guess, not
CDF.
Cumulative density function or cumulative distribution function.
cumulative.
Okay. Yeah, when we do the CDF, that is non-decreasing because you keep adding that. Probability is up to that location. Okay, up to that instance. Okay, these are the properties. So do you think that this P of x all every time has to be less than 1? That also, is that valid? Should I put that this has to be less than 1 here? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay, can you give an example? An example for when it will not be, it is greater than 1. P of x is greater than 1. So if I have x is a random variable, taking values between 0 to 0.5, okay, uniformly between 0 to 0.5, then how will it be? Huh? How will it be?
It will
What
be
is
at 2.
it? Huh?
The value will be at 2 from 0 to 0.5.
Yeah, it will be 2. So now P of x, is it greater than 2 or not? Okay. So I'm writing, see, please note that when I write P of x, though it's strictly P of x is equal to x equal to 0, we write for practical reasons that P of x means this. Okay, whatever I have defined. Okay. So we take the region around, we always, when we discuss about the probability density function, if we are discussing about a probability, unless for a particular question where we explicitly ask what is the point probability, okay, we consider a region rather than a point for calculating all probabilities. Okay, so probability has to be always less than 1, right? So where is it like, why is it violating here? All the time probability at any point has to be, or probability has to be less than 1, right? Why is this, why is it violated here or not?
Sir, you are not looking at the probability, no, sir. You are looking at the PDF.
Right. I am looking at the PDF and there is 2 here. But where is the probability here? So if I want, can I say that any points or any regions, the probability is less than 1? Can I tell that in this case as well, in the last case as well? Here also, can I say that, okay, in any region, okay, probability is less than or equal to 1. Can I say
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir. You
Yes?
can say.
Yes. How can I say?
So the entire integral over all the space is also 1 only, no, sir.
Right. So what usually we do is, so if you want the probability in continuous thing, always what we look is a region, as I said. Okay. So around 2, if you want, we look at a region around 2. So please note that in continuous random variable, probability, when we calculate, it is for the region, not for the point. Anyway, we know that point probability is 0. So that's a trivial case and we will not consider it. Okay. We only consider point probability for a region. Fine. So now finally give me an example for this. See, I will give you an example. So if class is at 9 o'clock, the probability that the student come to the class at say what kind of if I consider time as a very random variable, okay, then I want to know the number of students coming for the class. Okay, as a random variable, outcome of the random variable. Okay, at given time. So in that case, what kind of distribution do you think it may follow?
It will be a bell curve distribution with the highest
Yeah.
probability peaking around 9 o'clock.
Correct. So if I consider this as the time, in time, if I consider the frequency of people coming to the class, okay, it may follow if it's a well behaved class, then I think it may be 9. Okay, so otherwise the 9 may be here. So it is like that. So usually this can be modeled as a Gaussian distribution. Okay, the Gaussian density. Okay, so we'll see more about Gaussian density. We also see about the two events are having more than one random variable in an event. Okay, so and some of the properties of random variables like independence and correlated, uncorrelated. Okay, and also when we have more number of random variables, what are all the things to be taken care? Those we see in the next class. In fact, we are more interested with more number of random variables. Okay, look, under mathematical aspects, because most of the times these random variables are the features that we extract. Okay, and we don't have one feature or two features to handle with. We have thousands of features to handle with. So we should know what will happen, how the modeling of different distributions or densities has to be done when we have more random variables. Okay, so I am concluding here. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can quickly ask. Okay, thank you then. Bye.